Have you ever wondered why your prospecting efforts seem to fizzle out without landing that deal? If so, I'm going to share with you the 4 biggest reasons why prospecting efforts fail, and I'm going to give you some actionable tips so you can turn that situation around. Stay tuned to the end and you'll see why you being you really is your secret weapon when it comes to prospecting. I've been in sales since 1999 when we were still selling fax machines with thermal fax rolls. Now since then, I've worked in various industries. I've opened my own successful sales training business and I've traveled and spoken all over the world. Over the past 24 years, I've learned a lot about how to gain and hold our customers' attention. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 4 biggest prospecting fails that sellers make and my tips on how you can overcome them so that you can gain and hold your customers' attention. Now, by far the biggest mistake I see is the one-hit wonder. The most common mistake that sellers make is they just don't invest enough energy into their prospecting efforts. They reach out to a customer once or twice and then they wonder why it is that they don't get a response. Your prospects are busy. They have their own agenda and their own changing priorities, and you're attempting to cut through the noise of their own world and their own life. That's never been easy to do. But with technology adding more and more noise to every channel, it's only going to become increasingly more difficult. Did you know that according to Harvard Business School, in the 1970s, the average executive was receiving around 1,000 pieces of external communication per year? In 2010, now that's almost 14 years ago at the time of this recording, the average executive was receiving around 30,000 pieces of external communication per year. That does not include the internal communication that your clients are consuming. According to the RAIN Research Group, top sellers take an average of 5 attempts to get a meeting. But the average for B2B sellers is 8 attempts, and yet most sellers give up after 2 or 3 attempts. So, the first tip I have for you is your prospecting efforts must be strategic, organized, and ongoing. Your customers are overwhelmed just like you are, so persist and give them an opportunity to respond. The next big mistake I see is the unqualified outreach. How many times have you received a prospecting telephone call or an email for something that you don't even remotely need? I regularly get emails from sellers and I don't always get it right, but I try to respond. The thing is, most of the time, the prospect's value proposition is not even remotely suited to us. And at times, if I'm honest, I don't even understand what it is that they're selling. The importance of doing your research and understanding your buyer cannot be overstated. In a world where more than 2.5 billion emails are being sent every day and over 64% of those emails are considered irrelevant, be the exception and send a well-researched, clearly articulated, targeted email. It's not a silver bullet, obviously, but it's certainly going to increase your chances of success. Then we have the boring prospector. For most sellers, active prospecting is limited to either email or telephone, possibly LinkedIn direct message too. But even in those cases, I'm finding that sellers are using LinkedIn as if it was a platform for email, merely copying and pasting the emails. Now, depending on where you're watching in the world, you'll have your own preferences. If you're watching from South Africa, you may use email more than telephone. If you live elsewhere in the world, the telephone might be your default. But either way, a one-channel approach is repetitive and predictable. By the way, do let us know in the comments where it is that you are watching from. We'd love to get to know our community members. So what do? There are so many tools available to sellers today that there really is no excuse for being boring. Use video in email, use video direct to LinkedIn, screen share video, Prezi, VoiceOver, PowerPoint, voice notes, video case studies. Use them in combination with telephone and email. And if it's appropriate to your industry, you can use WhatsApp and Messenger. But change things up a bit and ensure your prospecting efforts are dynamic and engaging. Then we have the prospector with no personality. Now look, I'm all for keeping it professional, but if you sound like a robot, you're not going to engage your prospect. And this is true of your communication, whether it's written, verbal, or done through video. You want to let your personality come through in your communications. It was Dale Carnegie who famously said that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust, and it is still true today. And here's the thing, despite the Elon Musk memes, Nobody's falling in love with a robot anytime soon. AI may be fast and at times accurate, but you are you, and let that shine through in your communication. You see, even if a robot acts with empathy, it's not going to move your prospect. Why? Because trust and empathy, while in theory they can be engineered, are still best received when it's sincere and unpredictable. So avoid sounding like a robot, and with professionalism, bring your personality back into your engagement and into your communication. You are the most memorable thing about you. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are the most common mistakes that I see prospectors making. And I know I've made a few of these myself in my own time. And on that note, let me know in the comments, what are your prospecting pet peeves? What are the big fails you see prospectors making? Or what is it that you've seen prospectors doing really well? If you enjoyed this video, please do let us know. Hit like, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next week for our next installment.